Mr. President, thank you for having us here at Mar-a-Lago. What does Mar-a-Lago mean to you? It's a special place.
It is a special. There's no place like it. You look, no matter where, it's just, there's nothing like it. And it's become really the heart of Florida in a way, but certainly the heart of Palm Beach, which is an important place. And I just don't think there's anything more beautiful in this country than Mar-a-Lago as, you know, as a physical object. It's been amazing, and it's been very successful.
It's the Winter White House.
It is. It was built,
by built essentially for
E.F.
that
Hutton
reason.
and Marjorie Merriweather Post. They were married. He was the biggest man on Wall Street, and she was the richest woman in the world, actually. And they built it together, and it just, they picked the best site, they picked the best architects, they had unlimited money, and they built it. No, it's a very special place, and Palm Beach likes me because I saved it. Most of these places were ripped down, and 10 or 15 or 20 houses, mansions, beautiful mansions also, but much smaller. They were built on those sites, and I was able to save this, which is very important.
Well, and I know that you were just in Michigan.
Right.
You're just talking to folks in Michigan to mark 100 days.
Right.
Do you anticipate doing more travel across the country? And what do you do to stay in touch with the workers who elected you, sir?
Well, I just went to a great place, University of Alabama, last night. This was some unbelievable evening. And I gave the commencement address, and it's like different. Everybody was so awake, so lively, so attractive. And I'm not talking just physically attractive, just there was such an energy in the room. And it was really nice. You know, I won Alabama by many, many, many points. And they asked me to do it, and they put all of they had 9 different, you know, business and law and this and that, all the different things. They put them all, journalism, by the way. They put them all together, and we were in the big, that big arena. And it was tremendous energy. And that's a little bit, you know, to your question. Yeah, I think I get out quite a bit. I went to Michigan.
You think you'll do more in these second 100 days?
I think I will, but we're talking about the great, big, beautiful bill, you know, that we're trying to get passed. It'll be the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, and hopefully it'll get done, and the Democrats are fighting us, and if it doesn't get done, it's going to be a 68% tax increase. So that's going to be the Democrats, but I think we're going to have it done. I think the Republicans are going to vote for it, and it'll be the most consequential bill, I think, in the history of our country.
Leader Thune says he wants to get it done by July 4th.
Yeah.
Do you think that's possible?
I think it is, and I think he's doing a fantastic job. And Mike Johnson, Speaker, is doing a fantastic job, and they're both getting together well. There's great unity in the Republican Party. The Republican Party is a much different party than it was.
What happens if it comes to your desk, has the tax cuts, but also cuts to Medicaid? Would you veto that?
Well, we're not doing that.
Would you veto that?
I would if they were cutting it, but they're not cutting it. They're looking at fraud, waste, and abuse, and nobody minds that. If illegal immigrants are in the mix, if people that aren't supposed to be there, people that are non-citizens are in the mix, nobody minds that. Waste, fraud, and abuse. But we're not cutting Medicaid, we're not cutting Medicare, and we're not cutting Social Security.
You also unveiled a budget.
Yeah.
Deep cuts in some social services. What do you say to folks who may look at these cuts and say it's going to impact education? It could impact people who rely on services for the poor.
Well, for what I understand, and first of all, the budget is a very preliminary instrument.
Yes.
And I think that when it's all said and done, you're going to see a wonderful budget for everybody, really everybody. I would actually say the middle class probably goes to the fore. And it's about time, but we took care of the middle class during during the original Trump tax cuts. We really took care of the middle class. The people with the least amount of money actually were the biggest, and this isn't just the middle class, the least amount of money, the poorest people proportionally gained the most. And that's what we're looking to do here.
So you're not concerned about it impacting education and other services?
No, it depends what education. If you're talking about Harvard, which has a
no, I'm talking about
which has $53 billion in the bank because of a lot of things that they've been able to do and that the government helped them with. That's different. But no, not education. We're bringing education back to the states.
Let me talk to you about TikTok.
You know, that's a big thing because education coming back to the states is a very big thing. We're going to bring it back. The United States does not do well with education. We're number 37, 38, 39, and 40 out of 40. And we're going to bring it back to the states, and we're going to go to among the top 10, I believe.
Let me ask you about TikTok, sir. Would you extend that deadline if there's still no deal? You already one extent. You would.
I would.
So you want to see a deal?
I'd like to see it done. I have a little sweet spot in my heart because, as you know, I won young people by 36 points. That's a lot. No Republican ever won young people, and I won it by 36 points, and I focused on TikTok. So perhaps I shouldn't say this, but I have a little warm spot in my heart for TikTok. TikTok is, it's very interesting, but it'll be protected. It'll be very strongly protected. But if it needs an extension, I would be willing to give it an extension. It might not need it.
Where are discussions? Is it close to a deal?
We're not.
Someone close to purchasing
we actually
it?
have a deal. We have a group of purchasers, very substantial people. They're going to pay a lot of money. It's a good thing for us. It's a good thing for China. It's going to be, I think, very good. But because of the fact that I've essentially cut off China right now with the tariffs that are so high that, you know, they're not going to be able to do much business with the United States. But if we make a deal with China, I'm sure that'll be a subject, and it'll be a very easy subject to solve.
We're talking about your agenda, your budget bill, your tax bill, and you think about the next big test, which is the midterms. How do you see your role in the midterms?
I'm going to be very active. I've raised a lot of money for congressmen and senators that I think are good, really good people. We have some great Republican congressmen and women and senators that love this country, and they're not lunatics like some of these Democrats. What they're doing to the country is incredible. It's insane. There's something wrong with them. They suffer a major case of Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, nothing matters to them other than that. I'm going to be much involved. The interesting thing is, and nobody can explain why, but when somebody wins the presidency, they seem to lose Congress. They seem to lose the House and the Senate.
How concerned are you about that?
I don't know why it would be. I think we should do better. But if you look, it's pretty consistent that whoever wins the presidency ends up losing the House, losing the Senate. I think we're going to turn that around. I think we're going to turn it around easy. It should be the opposite. If we do a good job, let's say as president, if I do a good job, it should be the opposite. So hopefully we'll dispel that.
Well, it looks like you're also looking at the history books.
Yeah.
How concerned are you about losing one or both chambers?
It's a long way away. It's a long way. You know, we're in here for a little more than 3 months. We have a long way to go. I've raised a lot of money. We're having a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago tonight for exactly that purpose. We want to win the House in bigger numbers. But, you know, we had a 1 majority 3 months ago. Now we have 7 because we won a few races. I guess you know that, but we won a few races. But we're up 7 now, and we're up, we have 53 senators. And I think we're going to be in very good position. I expect to win by a bigger margin than we have now. If
you do lose 1 chamber, are there areas where you think you could find common ground with Democrats?
Well, there should be, but they seem to be stone cold. Look,
is there anything in your mind,
the one thing I will say about the Democrats, they stick together. They have horrible policy, men and women's sports, transgender for everyone, open borders, the craziest policies I've ever seen. But regardless of how crazy they are, they stick together. And I respect that. I think it's a great thing. And I think the Republicans are starting to do that also.
So, looking forward, sir, one of the big features of your first administration was the First Lady.
Right.
She had her Be Best campaign.
Right.
Will people start to see more of her? Will she come back with her Be Best campaign, for example? Can you give us a little bit of a preview of what we can see?
Well, as an example, she did a book, and she was #1 bestseller for a long time, for many, many weeks. The people love her. She's a very private person, which I respect a lot. She doesn't have to be out. I know people where they have wives in politics, and the wife wants to be in front of the husband all day long waving to everybody. She's got great confidence in herself, and she doesn't need that. But when she goes out, we were out, as you know, last weekend. It was an amazing day. The people love her. They really respect her and they love her. Yeah, she'll be very much involved.
And that's part of why I'm asking you. I mean, can people expect to see her revive her Be Best campaign? Can you give us a little preview?
It's still a campaign that's very important to her. And it's sort of a cute name, Be Best. I said, that's a strange name, but it's really beautiful. And it's sort of, means something now that I didn't understand. A lot of people didn't understand. And she's done a great job. She's raised a lot of money. She cares a lot about people, really cares a lot about people.
When you and I talked in December, we talked about the fact that in this second administration, your family is not there, and they were really some of your closest advisors.
Sure.
What is it like to be there, and are they still, I would imagine, your closest advisors?
They're with me all the way, but I think they were treated very unfairly. Ivanka worked so hard on getting jobs for people. I wanted to make her the head of the ambassador to the United Nations. There would be nobody that would be better than her. She said, Dad, I don't want to do that. I just want to get, she worked on getting people jobs. It sounds good in one way, but it doesn't sound as exciting as other jobs. And she just wanted to do that. And she got hundreds of thousands of jobs for people. It made her so happy. She's a good person. The way they went after Don and Eric, I said, just relax, because I thought it was unfair. They went after these kids, and they're really good, and they're no longer kids, but they're always going to be my kids. They were treated so unfairly.
Barron's in college now. Right. How is he liking college? How's he doing?
He's a great student. He's doing very well. Goes to a great school, but he's doing really well.
And is there any challenge being in college, having your dad as president of the United States?
You'll have to ask him someday that, but we try and make it as normal as possible. There's nothing normal about it, but he's a very great guy and wonderful kid.
Your birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
And there are reports that you're looking into the possibility of a military parade.
Not for my birthday.
What can you, when would it be?
Well, my birthday happens to be on Flag Day. So I think they're talking about Flag Day. But I view it for Flag Day, not necessarily my birthday. Somebody put it together. But no, I think we're going to do something on June 14th, maybe, or somewhere around there. But I think June 14th, it's a very important day. It's Flag Day. Plus, we're going to have different days. If you look at Russia, they celebrate Victory Day.
Yeah.
If you look at France, I was talking to Prime Minister Macron, and he says, yes, Victory Day, Victory Day. And I say, Victory Day for what? World War II. I said, well, we had more to do with winning World War II than any other nation. Why don't we have a Victory Day? So we're going to have a Victory Day for World War I and for World War II.
And will it be a military parade? What can people expect?
Because nobody knows this. We're going to have a Victory Day for World War I and for World War II. Well, it's going to start off by saying it's Victory Day. Because, when other nations, some of which weren't even very successful in the war, they have victory days, and the United States doesn't, and we're the one that won those wars with the help of others, but we're going to have a victory day for 1 and 2.
But one day, right? Both
maybe
on
not,
one day?
because,
oh, really?
Well, they took place on very different days.
Yeah.
They're about 6 months apart, so I think you can have 2 days. This doesn't mean we're going to go and not work and have a national holiday and all of that, because we don't have many of those days left. Eventually our country will become all national holidays, but we're going to acknowledge by having days for World War I victory and World War II victory.
And just paint a picture for me. What will those parades look like? Will it be military parades?
You mean like on Flag Day?
Yes.
We're going to have a big, beautiful parade.
A military parade?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We're going to celebrate our military. We have the greatest military in the world.
What's the price tag? Do you
know? Peanuts compared to the value of doing it. We have the greatest missiles in the world. We have the greatest submarines in the world. We have the greatest army tanks in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world. And we're going to celebrate it.
And, sir, finally, you've talked about the fact that you're putting some of your own touches on the White House.
Yeah.
Anything that you can share about what you may be planning for the White House? Sure. What's going to look different? I know you are thinking about making the Rose Garden look a little bit different. Anything you can share?
The problem with the Rose Garden is the grass is always soaking wet. You can't use it for news conferences. You're supposed to have news conferences, meetings, in the Rose Garden. So we're going to put a beautiful stone surface down so that people, for instance, we had something the other day, and it actually didn't rain for 3 or 4 days, and the women were still getting stuck in the grass, and we want to put it to work. So we're going to do something in terms of a hard surface that'll look beautiful.
And where will it be specifically?
Where the grass is, where there's grass, is grass in the middle. The roses stay, everything stays just the way it was, including the limestone paths and everything else. But we had the Prime Minister of India here, and they had a lot of press, and the women were walking out with their shoes full of mud. So we can't have that. The other thing, and you see what I've done to the Oval Office, and that continues, 24-karat gold. It's beautiful. And we have really gotten, because I know that people can be fresh and nasty and all, but we've been getting rave reviews. It was not taken care of the way it should. Now, I have an advantage. I was a really good real estate developer, so I know how to get things done. I know how to build it. You'll see it in a minute when you look at the ballroom, which I built at Mar-a-Lago. But the other thing, and the big thing, is going to be for 50 years they wanted to build a ballroom at the White House, and they've tried, but the presidents were not real estate people. They had no clue. All you have to do is look at President Obama and look at his museum or library, whatever they call it in Chicago. It's a catastrophe. It's way over budget. Maybe it comes to an end. I don't know what's going on, but it's a disaster because, and it's not his fault. He's not a real estate person. He doesn't know how to build. I do really well. And what we're going to do, you're going to see the most beautiful ballroom in the world right now when you take a look. But we are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House. And it'll be a world-class, beautiful ballroom. And they'll use the meeting rooms already existing. And we're going to get that started over the next few months. And it's going to be beautiful. And it'll be done properly. And I will fund it.
You will fund it?
Yeah, I'm not going to ask the government for money. I'll fund it, and I'm sure we'll have some donations to it. But it's not an inexpensive thing. It'll cost a lot of money.
Where will it be?
It'll be near the, I guess you would say the East Wing, near the East Wing. A little complicated to explain without a drawing, but we have 3 or 4 different concepts, and we're working with great architects, with great planners, and it will be something really beautiful, top of the line.
Finally, sorry.
You know, when they have a party for, like, when the head of China comes in, or the head of anybody, you know, head of anything, they have a party where they have a tent 200 yards away, where people have to walk in the rain to get to a tent. And that's not for us. That's not for the United States of America.
I know you're only 100 days into this second term, but have you thought about what you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be very much as the name of MAGA and what it represents. It's called Make America Great Again. We were a great country for a period of time, and the last 4 years have been a disaster for the reputation of this country and for the fact of the country. It's been a disaster. We're going to make America great again. That's all I want to do. I want to make it greater than ever before.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.